couple months ago, we had her good friend Misha Tate on, and this is a fighter that I've been a fan of for many years. They call her the Battle Cat, PFL lightweight Cindy Dandios. Welcome to the show, Cindy.
Hi, good to see you guys.
You too. You too. I've been a fan of yours for a good while. I remember your very first fight when you fought Marloes Koenen. I was a fan of hers for many years. Let me ask you, how did they make that amazing fight, a woman in her MMA debut against a woman who I think had 8 or 10 fights like Marloes Koenen? How did that happen, and what was your feeling going into that fight? Because I'm sure you were an underdog.
Well, I trained that time 4 months.
Wow.
And yeah, my brother actually called me and he was like, "Hey, you can fight. I fight for you." And because I didn't do any amateur fights, so he was like, "Yeah, after you can go back to amateur." Promised me because I didn't have any fight.
Right.
And I didn't really know, so I was like, "Okay, let's do it." Turned out well.
Yep, it did turn out well. That was amazing. Your judo came in handy there. You looked really good. It was a surprise. I think right away you made a strong impression because Marloes had many good wins before that and many good wins after that. So that was really impressive after 4 months of training. And I would imagine after that success, right away you felt like MMA was going to be a good career for you, or were you not so sure even then?
No, I loved it. I loved every piece of it. I still do. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this for so many years. Yeah, I just fell in love with the sport.
Excellent. And you're from Belgium. I don't think there's anyone else from Belgium that fights for a major MMA organization, or is there?
Yeah, now it starts. We have Nikayev in Bellator, and another girl, Griet Eekhout, also fought once in Bellator. But mostly we don't have so many people around on big organizations. Although we have Tarek Safieddine in UFC.
Okay, and now when you started, you were the first, obviously. Have the laws changed in Belgium at all? Is MMA legal, or how does it work over there?
No, MMA is legal, but it's not very popular. Our government doesn't really support it, and I get more wins.
Oh, it looks like you froze up there on the Skype, Cindy. Okay, let's see if we can. Okay, Cindy, I'm sorry. It looks like your Skype froze there. Repeat that last part, please.
So MMA is legal, but we can have cards and we can have fights in Belgium, but it's not very popular. Like our government doesn't support it.
Interesting. Okay. Has it become any more popular over the last 10 or 12 years? Are we making progress there or not really?
Yeah. Popularity, yes, because amongst the people, but our government is not really helpful. That's the point. Like the people like it and they follow it and they support it mostly, except the elderly. But our government isn't supportive. But yes, amongst the youth, it is getting more popular for sure.
Very cool. And now I read, speaking about that first MMA fight of your career against Marloes Koenen, I read that you began your MMA training in Holland. Is that correct?
No, I trained that time at my brother's gym, but because there weren't many good gyms in Belgium that time, I drove to Holland to train with Api Echtold and with Gegard Mousasi that time. It's a long time ago.
Yes.
Yes. So I trained in Holland and with Bert Kops too, in Holland and in Belgium.
Very, very cool. Gegard, really talented guy. Did you have good experience training with him?
Yeah, we didn't train much together, but yeah, in the same gym.
Very cool. And then Misha Tate, I didn't know this, but the reason how the two of you were introduced was you were supposed to fight several years ago and it didn't materialize, and then somehow you became friends from that. How did that work out?
So I was supposed to fight her, but Belgium and visas sometimes is very difficult, so my visa didn't get sorted out at the time. So it didn't happen. And then a few years later, she texted me on Facebook because she had a fight against Ronda coming up. And I have a very strong judo base, so that's why she flew me over and we became like best of friends.
Very cool. Did you spend any time training with her for a year or for a few months, or what was your experience as far as training in the United States?
Yeah, we've been training a lot together. And when I'm in Vegas, I trained in Couture. But we also went to Thailand together and trained there. And when we have time, we try to meet each other. Like also, Misha came to Spokane a few days, and we trained here a little too. So that's nice.
Absolutely. So I know that you had some opportunities at Bantamweight, but it always seemed to me like that's a very low weight for you and a difficult, right?
Yes, I died 20 deaths every time I had to make it.
Yeah.
It was, it's very bad on my body. I always have injuries when I cut to bantamweight. I did it because I just want to fight, you know. So I push my body in these terrible limits, but it's not good for me. I think 145 is my best weight. I'm healthy there, and I have no cuts, no injuries. That's nice. And 155 is also good for me because then I absolutely like no cuts, and I'm healthy here. And okay, it's a little heavier, but it's fine. I prefer to fight healthy and good than to cut to 130.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, why do you think it's taking so many years for some of these other promotions to promote 145 or to even consider 155? I've always been a big fan of women's, as you can tell by how many years I've watched your career, and then Marloes before you. So I've always been a big fan, and I've never understood why we can't see more organizations have women's lightweight, even women's welterweight, even women's middleweight fights. Why do you think this is so difficult to have promotions embrace, and do you think this will change in the near future?
I for sure hope it will change because I believe there are more girls in the world who are a little heavier than very light, except in Asia, of course.
Right.
But as long, you know, weight cuts are supported. If like now they make earlier weighing, so people will cut more and more and more, and then it's easy to like be like, oh, they have to make this weight because they can do a weight cut, you know. I think as soon as they know like the weight cuts are like crazy, like in 1FC, and you aren't allowed to cut that much anymore, they will have to have bigger weight classes, and people will fight at a healthier weight.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest problem, and also because all the girls like are pushing their body to make 145 because they go with it, and they don't want to like give in on like, okay, maybe I should fight a higher weight. There aren't enough girls in 155 to make like really good divisions. I think PFL does a great job there promoting a bigger girl weight class, and Kayla, for example, she fought in a bigger weight class in judo. In judo, it's normal.
Yes.
I think under 70 kilo is like very stacked.
Yep, and I believe it. So yeah, so there'd be a lot of girls from judo that could come.
So it makes sense to have a higher weight class, but I think people still have to like, you know, the weight cutting is the biggest problem. I think that how they support that, or weighing the day before, just let's kill yourself to make weight. That's not it's not very healthy. I think if people should have to weigh in on the same day, a lot of girls will have to go up in weight.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that's one of the problems in the world of MMA today. I remember that weigh-in, maybe perhaps you saw like 2 months ago in the UFC, they had the girl from Russia, Yulia Storolienko or something, and she weighs, she falls down in the beginning. They let her sit down and they bring her back, and then she falls down again on the ground.
It happens too much.
Yeah.
It happens too. How many like, you know, I'm a big fan of Invicta, but how many times do girls miss weight there?
Yeah.
How many? Because our body, we are women, we have our periods, we keep our water differently than men, but still they expect the same weight cuts from us.
Yeah.
It's not healthy, and a lot of girls miss weight in Invicta, and I think that is a point where something will have to change. I feel I never missed weight, but I had to tell myself to make 135.
Yeah, so without a doubt.
I'm all for
Yeah,
changing.
I would agree. And I think also it's too bad that 145 wasn't available earlier, because I know you would have had some great fights. Not that you didn't, because of course you did, but I think it would have been so much better had 145 been available sooner. But speaking about a higher weight, you have an amazing fight coming up. For people that don't know, we are talking about June 25th. Is it the 25th or is it the 24th, Cindy? Because it's a Thursday, right?
Yes, 25th.
25th. Okay, so June 25th in the PFL against Kayla Harrison. This is a huge matchup, and I'm so excited about this because I think clearly you will present the greatest challenge to Kayla Harrison. You both have the judo background. You have definitely more experience in MMA. I think your jiu-jitsu is better than hers. Striking, I think, is going to be close and competitive. Normally, the fights that she wins well are the fights that she just goes in there in dominant fashion and finishes her opponents. You haven't been finished in a fight in almost 7 years. So I think this is a really interesting matchup, and that it looks to me like they're letting Kayla go up in competition here finally. So what do you think? What's your feeling on that fight and what you bring to that matchup?
I think people always underestimate me because I'm not very muscularly built.
Right.
But that's fine. Fine. On the other hand, I think my strongest point here in this fight is that I'm a fighter. You know, I'm a fighter in life, and I'm a fighter. I always come out to fight. I always come out to finish. And the most girls are training on. They don't want to get taken down. You know.
Yep.
Oh, she's so good in judo. I don't want to get thrown. You know, I can handle to get thrown. Like if she throws me, I'm fine. You know, because I've been in judo so many years, and people have been throwing me, and I've been throwing people. So it's not something where I'm scared of, so I can go out there and just bang. And that's I think that's something what makes me a good opponent for her. Although people are saying like, oh, I'm gonna be killed and destroyed. Well, I hear that many times, and I'm still here, still fighting, and still always giving the best of me. So yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it's going to be exciting. Obviously, I think you're prepared if she tries to throw you and employ her judo. I think that clearly you can defend against that. So I'm almost thinking that lately at American Top Team they're having her work her wrestling, but I know that you know wrestling as well. Obviously at 155 she's a big girl, and like you were saying, your ideal weight is 145, but still I think you're a very strong fighter. To me, I think a fighter fights for like 10 or 12 years in the mid 30s like you. I think you're at a very good point because you're so experienced, your muscles are strong, your body's strong. I think this is going to be really interesting. And how long is this fight? Is this 5 rounds or just 3?
No. 3 minutes, 3 times 5 minutes round.
Okay, and so that's interesting. And so this is going to be in the tournament, or this is a match separate from lightweight tournament?
In the tournament, but I realize because she has 6 points, even if I win, it will be very hard to stay in the tournament. So I just see this as like it's for me it's a world title fight. She holds the belt, I fight a champ. So for me, in my eyes, it's I fight for the belt, you know, and it's very important for me to perform well because, as I said, after PFL, I will not be switching organizations anymore. I'm not interested in the UFC at all or stuff like that. I love PFL. I love to fight for them, and I just want to stay in as long as possible. So even if I don't proceed in the competition, I see they have women fights set up next to that too. So I have the fire in me burns still very hard because I know I can stay in this organization, and I love that.
Absolutely. It's a great organization. Shout out to one of the top PR people there, Tawny Cox. She is amazing. It was a great press conference today for the event that's coming up this Saturday, PFL 4. And I believe the one you're in is going to be PFL 5, or is it 6? 6. Excellent. That's going to be fantastic. Are you doing any training, or have you done any training with Misha for this fight, or who's been helping you for this camp?
Rick Little has been helping me for this camp. I've been training out of his gym in Spokane, Washington. My coach, Cody McKenzie, coming over to train with me. So that's pretty amazing. And Misha also came out a few days and we trained together.
Excellent, because she's got a fight coming up as well.
Yes.
And her return her comeback, rather. I think that's the best word used for it. A lot of people are excited about that after 2 kids. Speaking about kids, I was looking, you actually have 5 kids?
I have 6 right now.
Wow.
I just got a 5 months ago.
Wow. Because, they say several women fighters have kids, but I wonder if you have the record for the most kids.
I have 4 biological ones, though. Like I have 2 foster.
Gotcha. Still, 4 is amazing. How do you do that? Because I still think, even though it's different than 30 years ago or 40 years ago, but still today, you find many women who have 1 kid or 2 kids, they find it very difficult to regain physical fitness, even a little bit. I think in America also it's a problem. There's so much fast food and nutrition is not so good. But how are you able to have 4 biological kids and come back to look like an athlete? And like you said, maybe you're not extra muscle, but to be still so fit like you, how can you do that? It's amazing. 4 kids.
It's hard, but I work my butt off. That's what I do. I work my butt off. And the kids train in the same gym as I do, so they spend a lot of time in the gym too, obviously. Yeah, it's something like, if you want something, you can do it. I weighed 112 pounds in the beginning of January.
Oh wow! How much was that again? Tell me.
212.
Wow. Sorry,
and natural weight.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Just determination. I mean, that's one of the things that I really give credit to you guys that are professional athletes. I've always been in martial arts and then doing small competitions in school in my life, but nothing anywhere close to competing or as a pro. And so I have so much respect for you guys. In fact, I really believe that the discipline that you have probably should serve you for the rest of your life. Like, let's say perhaps you're 60 years old and you gain more weight. All you have to do is put your mind to it, I bet, and you're going to be able to get back in shape.
Mind gain weight. I think I look way better with some more weight, so I don't mind.
There we go. That's cool. But not 200. You don't want to be 200 anymore, probably, right?
No. That's because I had a baby.
That makes sense. Isn't Belgium has such good food, doesn't it? Like the wine and cheese and pastries like that, right?
True. We have very good food. We do.
Yeah.
Oh.
What is it that makes some of the food over in a place like Belgium and France and Switzerland and these places, I think, better than the United States? Is it the water or the milk, or is it less chemicals? I'm curious.
I think less chemicals, less sugars, and it's like, still it's not perfect, but our apples don't look so shiny as
Interesting.
Here, we aren't allowed to use so many pesticides. We aren't allowed to use hormones. Like, we have more regulations, I think. That's why.
Makes sense. And it's also interesting, the chocolate is so good in your country. Like, I had someone bring some, I think, from Belgium, France, Switzerland, and so much better than what we can get in the United States. It's the difference is amazing. But it's got to be tough when you have such tasty food to not eat it. But I think you've been an athlete ever since you were a child, so you've always had the discipline. Of course, when you're pregnant, you have to gain some weight. But other than that, it seems to me most of your life you've stayed in good physical condition.
I try to, yeah. I try to. It's something, if you're doing competition, you have to. I get out of weight, though, like many times. But I know when my fight camp is coming up, I just turn the button and I do what I have to do.
Absolutely.
And I'm very proud of the fact that I never missed weight as a female athlete in 22 fights. That's not very cool.
It's amazing. It really, really is. How many times has your opponent missed weight?
Oh, I think maybe 2 or 3 times, but I didn't increase. It was the last time I think my opponent missed weight by almost 2 kilograms. But it doesn't matter, I believe if she doesn't cut from like 8 kilo or like 20 pounds above those two, 4 or 5 pounds will not make a difference. I think the best, if you're like really the best fighter, it's not a big difference then. It is a big difference when your opponent cuts like already 20 pounds, and it's a big difference. But if she's like, not as good in cutting weight, and she just naturally weighs a little more, and you do your cut right, it doesn't really have, is a big difference.
That's good to know. May I get your opinion on a couple of upcoming women's MMA fights?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. So this Thursday is going to be a very interesting fight. The pro debut of American women's Olympic and pro boxing champion Clarissa Shields, and she's going up against Brittany Elkin. They make Clarissa Shields like 3-1 favorite, which is a little bit, but maybe not as substantial. So the odds makers, I think, feel maybe Brittany Elkin has a chance. I'm curious your thought on this.
I love Clarissa, and I think she's great. But I have Brittany in this fight.
Oh wow!
You only count the pro fights she has, but she has amateur fights too, I believe. And she took off from her job to train properly. If she has like a good corner who prepares her properly, I think she makes a chance. Although I think Clarissa is great, but she didn't do this for years, And some stuff on the ground, I feel, for example, is hard to get in your blood and in your bones in only 4 months.
Yeah.
It's a different. Rounds in boxing are different. It's a different drive. It's a different strength. The grappling is different, So, or she will have to KO Brittany right away.
Right.
What I think, because how many KOs does Clarissa actually have?
In her pro fight, you're right. Not a lot in boxing. Right.
Only two.
Yep.
She hits. Get me wrong. She hits hard, but only 2 KOs in her pro fight. And I saw her fight, and she's a great boxer. But she fought Femke Hermans from Belgium.
Right.
And that was a competitive fight. And,
yes.
So she's a great boxer. She did a lot, but to call her the greatest of all times, I wouldn't know. She will have to. I hope she can make this sport even more glorious. But I think Brittany has a chance here.
Interesting. Yeah. I appreciate that. And then how about in the UFC? We have this weekend, flyweight division is going to be from Scotland. Joanne Calderwood against the American Lauren Murphy. How do you think that fight plays out? And then a prediction if you have one.
I think Joanne is going to win this because she had the setback last time, losing because she was supposed to fight for the title. And
right.
She made a little mistake.
Right.
Got another fight in between to stay busy and got caught. And that happens, but that will give her more fire to do better now and pay attention. She will not take it easily. So I think she's coming for redemption.
Absolutely. And then a fight that's a little bit down the line, but Amanda Nunes going up against Juliana Pena. Do you think Juliana can do anything with Amanda Nunes or not? I
believe with all my heart and all my soul, Juliana's going to win this.
Wow, that's right. Because, I just remembered you probably are maybe a little bit of a friend with her because of Misha or no?
Yeah, no, I train in her camp.
Nice.
I train with, and, fights, you say styles make fights.
Right.
I just think Juliana is a hard matchup for Amanda. She pressures. She's everything can happen. I think she has a good shot. I will not be. I think Juliana's gonna win this. I'm with Juliana 100%.
That would be amazing. One other question: when Nunes fought Cyborg a few years back, I was always disappointed they didn't have a rematch. And
me too.
Right. Yeah, because I think this fight caught Cyborg by surprise. I think she thought this other girl would be a little bit intimidated by her and would stand back, and instead Amanda Nunes came out so fast. But if those two women fought 10 times, Do you think it would be 5 wins for Cyborg and 5 wins for Nunes, or what would you think?
10 times. Yeah, I think it would go. Those can go both ways with them. That's what I think. But I think actually Cyborg would win more,
right?
Because she's naturally heavier, and that's what I think. But yeah, I am so sad we didn't see a rematch. I'm really disappointed.
Yeah, me too. I really was too. And also, the biggest of the big dogs, as they say in women's fighting, is the Brazilian Gabby Garcia. Now, you can see if you ever look at her Instagram, she looks like she's getting smaller. Her face is thinner. She's doing this dancing. To me, it looks like she's really trying, but she's so tall. I think 6'1", 6'2". Yeah. She's talking about Kayla Harrison. Is there any possibility, do you think this can happen? And I think, to me, Gabby has to come down maybe to middleweight. And would any of these girls be willing to fight her there? Because I don't know how much lower she can go.
I don't think, you know what, I don't think Kayla will take this fight, because everybody assumes Gabby is on steroids, and I don't think that she will do it. Although I have to say, like, I met Gabby, and I think she is an amazingly sweet woman.
Yes.
I like her. I actually I really appreciate her, but I don't think Kayla will take this fight.
Makes sense. You know, it'd be
unless if Gabby is willing to like go take a lot of tests all the time, maybe.
Right.
But then also she has to come down in weight a lot. She will not fight Kayla. She will not fight Gabby in her own weight class.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. The only thing I can think of is if maybe Clarissa Shields has a lot of success, maybe down the line it can be Clarissa Shields against Gabby. This would be such a crazy old school fight, but Clarissa probably can come in weighing 170 pounds or something like this, and then maybe Gabby can guarantee to make 185. But it would be interesting to see. But I think when people say there are not so many larger women, I think they're mistaken if they're talking about 145, 155, maybe 170. But I think if they're saying how many women can be 185, 205, probably there's not so many. Or do you think there still can be?
They have to do like in the like they do with the heavyweights. Like, why don't they have a plus division?
Yeah.
So until like maybe 165, and then plus 165, like in judo, like in wrestling, like in every combat sport. Makes sense. And then bigger women can fight there, or women who want to go up from the like the 165 can go up there too if they want to, and if they don't want to, they stay at their own weight class.
I like that. The one crack that I've heard, which is like a criticism, is that I've heard some promoters, mostly male promoters, say, you know, we don't want to see a 190-pound woman with a fat stomach and fat on her body. Yeah. You know,
but that is bullshit, because they do want to see Roy Nelson versus a Mark Hunt.
Yes.
And it's not that they look so athletic either. And we're going to be very honest. Like, I am a big fan of Cormier, but he's not the most muscular guy either. But he's a great fighter.
Very true.
That sounds like crap in my ears.
I agree. I agree with you 100%, because I've been a fan for a long time. Not only that, but I think they don't realize there are women that are tall, 5'10", 6 feet tall, you know, that played other sports, even taller, 6'2", 6'4", that can look very good at. Yeah, yeah. Like some of these volleyball, American volleyball girls can be 6'4". Yeah, and they can be 200 pounds and look in great shape. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. Well, I'm excited about your fight. This is 155. You're going to be very strong. You don't have to starve yourself at all. I think it's going to be a fun matchup, and I think you're going to have a good time in there with Kayla. I think that you are a little bit of the underdog. Can we look, Dr. Adam Roder? Let me have my producer take a look here, and then I'll ask you this, and then I'll let you get back to your evening. Let me see. PFL, is it even up the next one? I don't know that it's up yet. Okay, I think they're not showing the odds as of yet, but do you look at that at all ever? Are you a gambling woman? Do you like to make bets? Probably not, huh? No?
No, I don't look at being the underdog or not. I've been like mostly in my career, I always was the underdog, and usually I I don't get how they get those odds. I will be the underdog in this one, and that I understand. But,
Absolutely.
It's fine.
Are you going to be either in Misha's corner or can she be in your corner for these next fights?
And he's preparing for her own fight, so she'll not be able. And I'm going back to my kids after this fight. I miss them so much. It's been very hard on me.
I can imagine. Well, I really want to thank you so much for your time, Cindy. I've been a fan for many years. I think this is going to be a very exciting fight, and I think that you're going to present a great challenge. I wish you luck. I think you have a good chance to win, and I am excited to see you do well, and would be happy for you to be victorious on June 25th in the PFL and against Kayla Harrison. Thank you so much for your time, Cindy. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews ad-free and help our channel grow. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.